Spider-Man has always been a more powerful hero than most normally think, but part of this can also be attributed to his tech that he has backing him up. After all, it isn't just Spider-Man's powers that make him powerful. Peter Parker is both brilliant and has many brilliant friends, colleagues, and acquaintances to help him create strong spider suits to both protect and defend him, and others on his many heroic adventures. Welcome back, Nerd Squad. Today we'll be taking a closer look at some of our favorite and most powerful Spider-Man suits that we have seen in the comics and on the big screen as we count down the top 10 strongest Spider-Man suits. If you're a major webhead like me, be sure to check out our Spider-Man playlist for even more Spidey and Spider-Verse adjacent content. And be sure to stick around to the end of this list where I will have some bonus content coming your way, in the form of comment responses. Alright, now let's get counting. Number 10, Lady Spider. I want to talk about Lady Spider's suit relative to the time period she is from. May Riley comes to us from what appears to be the turn of the century, at a time where steam-powered ships and locomotives were all the rage, and yet she still manages to craft a fairly impressive costume based on the technology of that time. May's father was an inventor, and it seems she was also bit by the inventing bug. Pardon my bad pun there. After her father passed away, she set to tinkering and creating her own spider costume. It might not be as epic as some of the others on this list, but relative to the time period, it would have been pretty powerful. It comes with a spider harness with 4 functional spider arms attached to it, and of course web shooters of her own design. Number 9, Spider-Gwen suit. Not the comic book Spider-Gwen, but the Spider-Gwen from the Ultimate Spider-Man Disney XD cartoon. This version appears in episode 19 of season 4 in the story Return to the Spider-Verse. Here we learn that Gwen does not have powers just all her own, but instead it is her suit and its gadgets that help to give her her abilities, mimicking the powers that Spider-Man is usually known for. While this doesn't put her suit on the same level as some of Peter's other suits, it does mean that if you had Spider-Gwen's suit, you'd basically be at the same level of power when it comes to heroics as any other of your standard spider folk. Her mask even grants Spider-Gwen her own version of spider sensibilities. Pretty impressive. Number 8, Enigma Force. So, the Enigma Force isn't so much a suit as it is, well, a force. But last time we talked about Spider-Man suits, a lot of you were sad that it was not included, so this is for all you nerds that love the Spider-Verse and or that time Spider-Man was bonded with the Uni power. For the alternate Spider-Man of Earth 91110 from the What If series and of Earth 13 from the Spider-Verse event, that power never left Peter Parker. While tied to the Enigma Force, all of Spider-Man's abilities were immensely enhanced, and he also gained the ability to see things at a subatomic level and manipulate matter and energy. The only reason the Enigma Force is so low on this list is because it's still not technically a suit, but it does have a stylized look that makes it appear like its own suit of sorts, so I'll give it to you. Number 7, Future Foundation suit. This suit was given to Spider-Man by the Future Foundation and was created by Mr. Fantastic. The Future Foundation suit was a suit that Spider-Man wore during his time with the FF, where he took over Johnny Storm's place on the team's roster after the Human Torch was suspected dead. Of course, this is comics, so the Human Torch would eventually return. The Future Foundation costume is made out of unstable molecules, which makes it more durable, prevents it from getting dirty, and can allow the wearer to change its appearance and color scheme with a simple thought, helping Peter to go from his everyday civilian appearance to superhero in an instant, which is pretty powerful for a costume vigilante with a secret identity to uphold. Number 6, Mark II suit. I love that Spider-Man numbers his suits like Iron Man. It's real cute. The Mark II is a suit Spider-Man created when he was suffering from a loss of his Spidey sense. To compensate, this armor was bulletproof and more durable than most, allowing him to get shot multiple times by villain and mass murderer the Insane Massacre without being harmed in battle. The suit was used by both Superior Spider-Man and Peter Parker himself. It also came with magnetic web shooters which helped to block radio frequencies so that Massacre could not activate his traps from a distance. Number 5, Superior Spider-Man suit. This is the suit that belonged to Otto Octavius when he took up the mantle of Spider-Man, following his body swap with Peter, or at least one of his suits, because he kind of updated it a few times. Originally, Otto was just going to steal Peter's body to use for his own means, as his old body was failing him. But Peter convinced Otto to carry on his work as a hero, and Octavius set out to be an even better Spider-Man as Superior Spider-Man. The costume that he wears is lined with carbonadium to protect against any unwanted wanted mind swapping, as Otto obviously did not want to become a victim of exactly the kind of plot he had previously executed against his former nemesis Peter Parker. The carbonadium lighting would of course help to make the mask more durable as well. The suit was also later upgraded to feature spider arms, a nod to Otto's octo arms, its own AI, webbed wings, and laser beams. Pew pew, laser beams. Number 4. Uru suit. During the Fear Itself event, pretty much every hero was given their own set of Uru weapons and armor after Tony Stark made a deal with Odin to allow him to work alongside the dwarves of Nidavellir for Spider-Man to wear in and wield in the upcoming war against the fear god known as the Serpent, aka Thor's uncle called Borson. He was given a suit made of one of the strongest metals in the universe, Uru, and 2 gauntlets, one for each wrist equipped with Uru blades. These items were so powerful that Odin insisted after the war they should all be returned and destroyed, melted back down into the Uru stone-like metal they were crafted out of. Uru metal is just too powerful apparently, we can't have it. Number 3. Iron Spider. This suit was created by Tony Stark himself in the MCU, but it also takes inspiration from a comic book version by the same name, also made by Tony Stark. In the MCU, it's gifted to Parker following the events where he defeats and helps to capture the supervillain Vulture. In the comics, it's given to him by Tony during the events of Civil War I, where Peter fought on Iron Man's side in the first Civil War, which of course was between Tony Stark and Captain America Steve Rogers. This armor has also been worn by Mary Jane in the comics, who used it to come to Spider-Man and Iron Man's defense when they were battling villain Regent. Number 2. A Mark IV suit. What's better than having a millionaire slash genius slash superhero use his resources and intellect to build and gift you a suit? Being a millionaire slash genius slash superhero who uses your own resources and intellect to build your own suit. That's exactly where the Mark IV Spider-Man suit came from. The suit comes with built-in Spider-Man powers, so it is super strong in the sense that it can turn a normal wearer into Spider-Man when needed. Spider-Man added this in to keep his secret identity safe, giving this model to those he trusted to impersonate him when needed so that no one would suspect Peter Parker was actually Spider-Man. The suit is insanely durable and comes with spider drones, immunity to poison, enhanced senses and strength, and a brain control override function, which shocks anyone who comes into physical contact with the suit, basically causing their motor functions to go haywire for a lengthy period of time. This was shown to be successful when used on the extremely powerful sorceress Morgan Le Fay. Number 1. Symbiote suit. This suit created waves when it first appeared in Amazing Spider-Man issue 252. Originally it was meant to just be a change-up of costume colors for the web-spinning hero, but fans were not huge on these new colors, the black and white, and many expressed how much they missed the old classic red and blue costume. Because of this, the black suit, as it was known then, was given a backstory wherein it was explained that the suit was not just a suit, but an actual living being, an alien creature known as a symbiote, which Peter had found during Secret Wars. Despite the fact that Peter would eventually part ways with it, the suit would stick around in the comics and eventually find its way to longtime host Eddie Brock. The suit adopted Spider-Man's powers, was immune to Spidey sense detection, could shapeshift, and has since seen an even greater power-up over time, with it later on getting wings, poisonous fangs, a powerful healing factor, the ability to fuse with other symbiotes in order to grow its own strength, and even channel energy, use it to fire blasts, and could even absorb energy as well. It also has its own pocket dimension, which can be used to store an infinite number of things, I presume, though it's only ever been mentioned once. I'd kind of love it if Peter had put something in there like years ago when he was wearing the suit and forgot about it, and then randomly Eddie just like pulled that item out of thin air and was like, hey, where did this come from? Thank you so much for watching, Nerd Squad. I hope you enjoyed learning some more about some of Spider-Man's most resilient suits. What are some of your favorite Spider-Man suits? Which do you think is the strongest? Who is your favorite hero of all of the Spider folks? Let us know in the comments below. And speaking of comments, it's time to turn to some comments from one of our latest videos, Top 10 Alternate Versions of Polaris. Wakanda Kid comments, Lorna finally gets some love. She's a great character and should have more time in the spotlight. I agree, I'm so glad we're getting to dig deeper into who she is now in the present and X Factor, and I just can't wait to explore her connection with Krakoa even more, which I think is just super neat. Sarah Wilker shares, she was always one of my favorite characters because I like Magneto, but I like her hair. I agree, I love her green hair, it definitely makes her stand out, and also just green hair is cool. I've personally always wanted to have purple hair, but as an actor I feel like That will never happen. Someone cast me in a role where I can have purple hair, please. I think her character as well, in terms of her relationship with her father and developing her own sense of self, is also super interesting. And that's all the time we have for comments today. Be sure to comment below for a chance to have your thoughts and your feels shouted out in a future list. This has been Top 10 Nerd, and I'm your host Amanda McKnight, reminding you as always to stay nerdy, YouTube. Spider-Man of Earth 91110. I think I said too many ones. The costume that he wears is lined with carbonadium to protect Carbonadium. Now I'm questioning myself. The costume he wears is lined with carbonadium to protect. Oh, it's definitely adium. I just heard that. That sounds terrible. Number 3, Iron Spider. This boot. What's a spoot?